three of his doctors heard a flutter, and it's abnormal, but common in kids, and usually they grow out of them. But because all three of them heard it.
You caught a fish!
Hello ECZEMA family, how's it going? If you're new to my channel, my name is Sarah. Kekoa is actually asleep right now. Before midnight, I wanted to wish everybody a happy 4th of July for all my American subscribers. Everyone's asleep, so I figured I should get on because we did receive some test results and everybody's been waiting for the updates. I've been getting messages, have you heard back? Have you heard back? Have you heard back? So here we go, we heard back. First off, if you look right here, I'm going to show you guys. So one of the big tests that indicates his eosinophil levels is what we call a CBC, which is a complete blood count. And in this, it tests everything: white blood cells, red blood cells, hemoglobin, hematocrits, his eosinophil levels. So anything that has to do with the blood, basic blood, like your blood, this panel will test. So when we first got his eosinophils tested a month ago, if you look up here, it shows you that it was like 3.1 or something times 10. So it's 3,000 eosinophils in the blood, which is really, 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 really high. We retested, so they gave us a test for a month earlier because they're testing it for something called eosinophilia. I'll show you the definition here of what that is here. And that is kind of the big thing that they're looking for right now, since the mast cell test came back negative. And autoimmune stuff came back pretty much negative. There's still a couple things that they're testing for. So his eosinophils went down to this number here, which is like I don't know if it's 1.8 or 1.9. So that means it's almost not fully cut in half, but it's gone down. It is still high enough though for eosinophilia. And when we tested him 2 years ago for this specific test in his CBC, he was normal. So his body, for some reason, is producing these eosinophil levels, and now they have to try to figure out why. And before, they're like, well, he has eczema, which will trigger them. He has allergies, which will trigger them. And he has the eosinophilic esophagitis, which will trigger them. So now they're trying to figure out why they're fluctuating so high. But the fact that they came down is a really good sign. We could have had his blood drawn during massively in the middle of like allergy season, which will raise his eosinophil levels because he has some pretty severe allergies. Just one of those things. But also we got results back, if you look here, is some more allergy testing done. So the doctors wanted to check and see if he did have environmental allergies like trees and grass. And if you guys see here, he came back positive for a few of them, which would explain the fact that his eyes are swelling. He'll wake up and his eyes are swelling. He sneezes all day. His eyes are red. His throat is tickly is what he calls it. So this here is another move in the right direction, because now we're noticing that he is having environmental allergies that he never had before. So another thing that we talked about a couple of videos ago, which I'll link that up here, was that they noticed a heart arrhythmia when they were checking him to put him under anesthesia. The anesthesiologist was concerned, but not concerned enough to not put him under anesthesia. So they just pretty much made sure that they monitor him and kept him on the heart machine the whole time he was under. When we brought him here to talk to his pediatrician also heard it. So she knows, and so she knew it was there. Then we take him to the allergist, and now the allergist also hears it. So now this is 3 people, 3 different times that have heard this arrhythmia that was never there before. All 3 of his doctors heard a flutter, and it's abnormal, but common in kids, and usually they grow out of them. But because all 3 of them heard it, they were concerned, because he's been on so many types of meds and steroids and all this stuff to try to fix everything else that's going on. we need to do an EKG. Did an EKG, they noticed that his heart rate is normal. I'll post his EKG here. His heart rate is normal, but he is positive for this arrhythmia. Positive for this heart arrhythmia. So we're waiting to hear back from his pediatrician to determine if we have to go see a cardiologist. She's looking more, she's getting in contact with the pediatric cardiologist who read his EKG, and she's trying to determine if the next step would be to take him to a cardiologist to make sure that there isn't anything severely wrong. One of the big reasons for this is because eosinophilia starts to affect things like the heart. So now if this is something that is being affected, then there is a bigger chance of him having eosinophilia. That's what we're working with now. And then the other thing is we finally got the results back from his scope. I know that was like a month ago. I called his GI doctor, and his GI doctor did the scope. When the biopsy results came back, he was on vacation. I don't blame him. It's been crazy. They've been working just like we have during the COVID. So he was on vacation with his family. I did call them to figure out what happened. So his original eosinophil level was 32, and this time it went up to 87. So they put him on new meds. If you saw our med video, which I'll post that here, if you saw our med video, you'll see there's a box with like liquid gel thingies in it. So that is the new meds for his eosinophilic esophagitis. He wants him on these new meds, and then we're gonna scope him again in 6 months. He doesn't want to keep scoping him. Kekoa has a really hard time coming out of anesthesia, so he doesn't want to scope him again if it's not necessary. So there's the results from that. That's pretty much our biggest update right now, is we've gotten like a whole bunch of new information all at one time. And so now we're just kind of waiting. We have to go back to the allergist in a month, and his allergist wants to see him every 30 days now for a while until we can get some control over his skin. We don't have an appointment with the pediatrician yet. We're waiting to hear back from her because COVID, their scheduling's kind of weird. We see his GI in 1 month, and we're doing another tele appointment with him. And we're waiting to hear if we have to see a cardiologist. So yeah, there's our update. Really hope everybody had a good 4th of July. I'm going to put a clip in here of Kekoa dancing around with the fireworks. It's super fun to watch him have just a great time and get to be a normal kid. And he only had one itchy attack today, and he stopped. He got partially in the pool, which has not happened in like 3 years. So yeah, it was really a kind of productive day, and it was a lot of fun. So before we put the 4th of July clips in here, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time, okay? Bye! Vincent, or Kekoa, look at Mama.
Watch out for people and dogs. You can't blame them.